Simply, we've been working on a project called Civic Life for a number of years, since 2003, and it involves working with people in local communities and engaging in a dialogue and conversation with them about their connection and relationship to the place where they live. And then on the basis of that conversation, building together a treatment or a sequence of shots to make a film. And a friend of ours who lives in Singapore, Ben Slater, introduced Dan Pritchard from the British Council to our work. And at the time, Dan was involved in a project called Creative Cities, and he felt that there was a very interesting connection between the work that we were doing on Civic Life and the work that he was undertaking in Creative Cities. And so he invited us over initially to present our work, just to get something happening, to see was there the scope to think about a Civic Life film happening in Singapore. So our first visit was in 2009, January 2009, and it kind of slowly rolled from there. I think what makes it very unique and specific is to see the film as part of something bigger, that the project works on a number of different levels. And I think if that's lost, well then you don't have a Civic Life project.
Yeah, I think that social engagement part is the crucial part. I mean, really, if we were coming here, you know, if we were to write a script, get our characters, you know, get our actors to come in, it's like that's not right.
No.
We've been working with local community groups now for over 20 years, so it's a kind of a long game process that we've been engaged with. So it's taken a long time to arrive at this kind of process, and a lot of failures along the way. You know, like we've made some terrible films along the way, but often in art, you have to show your errors and your mistakes, and sometimes that actually has some really strong, valid points to it. But something like this has to have a solid philosophical base to it, and I think that maybe that's why it's kind of special. Initially, people are reserved, but only rightly so. I think if two foreigners were coming into my neighbourhood and asking me to talk about the neighbourhood and with the view of being in a film, I would be myself, cautious. I'd want to trust them, make sure that they don't make me or my neighbourhood look bad. So that's only right, and Singaporeans are no more cautious than anyone else. So I think it's a good thing. But so the job for us is to, I guess, win trust over. That's slightly easier now because we can refer to older work and say, look, these are the kind of things that we've done. So you can see we're not trying to make you look bad. In fact, we're trying to make the neighbourhood and you look kind of beautiful, because we're shooting on a very wonderful format of 35mm CinemaScope. We're hoping that we will really do justice for that. But what really requires in this collaboration is for people to be generous with their thoughts. Like, what do you think about this neighbourhood, and what are the major themes that come up? There have been so many generous people. It's just smarter to go with the people who want to work with you and want to be in the film.
Yeah, I know people have really stepped up, I would say, over the last 3 days, which is what we really want and hope for and actually need at the end of the day.
I mean, one example of that actually is that there's a guy who was in the shot yesterday. He's one of the cleaner gentlemen, and they're in a short scene where they have a bit of dialogue, and he's fantastic. But of course, there could have been any number of cleaners who didn't want to be in the film, and it seemed to us that if you're going to shoot in a hawker centre, you really have to involve the people who work here as much as come and eat here.
One of the hawkers who we worked with, who's one of our main characters in the film, Leo, he's been asked a number of times by people over the last couple of days, like, why were you chosen? And we had to remind him that he volunteered. It's not that we chose him. We talked to him, we asked him, would you be interested? And he said, yes, absolutely, I want to be in your film. And that's what we look for. And it's people who come forward and really want to be in it, who then we end up working with. We knew when we arrived in the estate that it was different and that it was a bit of an anomaly and that it had something incredibly special about it. And I think that would probably, that everybody who comes to TIONG BAHRU would probably feel that. But it's just slowly over the process of working on this project for the last year and a half. And don't forget, the project is bigger than the film because we also have our website, and the community aspect to it in terms of the dialogue we've had with local residents has been more than just the film. The really interesting historical backstory to TIONG BAHRU has been revealed to us bit by bit, and yeah, it's kind of fascinating, really amazing. Nearly all of our Civic Life short films, well, practically all of them, have been single takes, so say a 10-minute shot. So, you know, we say action and then we shoot the entire film in one camera move and then we say cut, and it's in account. So all the post-production in terms of editing has related to sound. But over the last 3 days we've shot over 60 scenes, so it's the first time we've worked a Civic Life project in this way, where the editing process is now going to be a really, really important part beyond just editing sound. That was a new challenge for us in this model of working, trying to think about the edit and the cut as well.
So that's another creative journey altogether. And I think we've got lots of options here, you know. I hope we can use absolutely everything that we have shot. It may well be that we can't for different reasons, but we've yet to embark on that particular process. So this will be a very interesting process to identify what's the identity of this film now. Not what we've shot, but how it's actually going to be in this process. As part of this whole Civic Life .sg website, there is this film competition, and the brief behind that is to ask people, not just filmmakers, but anybody with a camera or a mobile phone, but just to engage with a place, a strong attachment to a particular location, and to look at that place and think about its potential to make a short film, 90-second film. So, you know, in a way, it doesn't really matter to us whether it's film, photography, writing, as long as people are engaging in the world around them in a creative way. I think that's really the most important thing that you can do, because you feel very much alive then.
I think it's going to happen very fast. We'll have to move very quickly because, you know, our premiere, the preview screening, is going to happen on the 4th of October here in TIONG BAHRU, and then the official premiere happens on the 5th. So we'll have to work really fast and really quickly.